Hi, friends. Welcome to Beyond Brokenness. This is Abby Watson, and you're listening to our short devotional series called Just a Word. In each episode, we'll take one word or a simple thought and look at it through the lens of Scripture, letting God use it to remind us, teach us, and shape us right in the middle of everyday life. Here's Alicia with today's word.
As we get started today, our word is death, or maybe more honestly, the fear of it. I didn't know how afraid I was to die until I thought I was going to. It was a Sunday morning, not long after I had become paralyzed. We still didn't fully understand what had happened to my body or why, and I woke up with the most extreme, violent vertigo I've ever experienced. I couldn't move my head. I couldn't move my eyes. If I even blinked, I threw up. My whole world was spinning, physically and spiritually, and I was convinced this is it. Whatever paralyzed me is back, and this time, it's going to kill me. Our tiny little church met next door. We lived in the parsonage, and after the service, some of the members came over to check on me, and I'll never forget the moment they walked into my room. I was lying there so still, so pale, and in so much distress. I tried to squint my eyes to be hospitable, looking up at all these dear, concerned faces staring down at me, and I thought, am I already in my casket? Is this like my viewing? And it's a funny thought now, but it wasn't then, because I wasn't just dizzy. I was terrified. I didn't want to die. And it wasn't because I didn't think I was saved. It wasn't that I doubted I'd go to heaven. It was I didn't want to leave. I had children to raise. I had a life to live, and I wasn't done. And when I didn't die, when the vertigo passed after a few days, I wasn't left with peace. I was left with guilt. Why was I so afraid to die if I'm a believer? Does that mean I'm not really saved? Do I love this life too much? Is something wrong with my faith? The questions spiraled fast, not unlike the vertigo that had just left. But then the Lord, in the most quiet and kind way, whispered something to my soul that I've never forgotten. He said to my heart, "Do you know why you were afraid to die? It's because you didn't have dying grace. And do you know why you didn't have dying grace? Because you weren't dying. You only thought you were." And in that moment, 1,000 pounds lifted. Of course I didn't have the grace to die. I wasn't dying. God gives grace in the moment it's needed. Not before, not in theory, not in imagination, but in reality. And that changed everything. I stopped fearing the absence of a grace I didn't yet need, and then the Lord pushed the lesson even deeper into my heart. You know how you thought you were dying, but you weren't? Yes. That's how it is when I ask you to die to yourself. You don't have grace to surrender because you haven't actually surrendered. You're still fighting on to hold on to what you want. You see, during that time is also the same time I'm wrestling so hard on this whole self-control, God's sovereignty over my life in areas of tragedy that I didn't want. And this was such a visual to me, and God used it. It hit me. I thought I had surrendered my life before, but I was still clawing for that control and for comfort and for my plans and for my version of what a godly life should look like. I wasn't dying. I was resisting death, and that's why I couldn't find peace. Because dying to self doesn't come with grace beforehand. It comes in the dying. When we stop wrestling, when we stop preserving our pride, when we stop managing our pain, when we stop protecting our image, and we just lay it down, then comes the grace. Then comes the peace. Then comes the resurrection. So my friend, if you're afraid of death, afraid of surrender, afraid of losing control, afraid of what it will cost you to say yes to Jesus again and again and again, you just know this. The reason you feel no dying grace might be because you're not dying yet. You're still fighting. You're still holding on. You're still bargaining with the life you hoped for. But if you'll let go, if you'll let yourself die to pride, to plans, to your version of how it should have been, you'll find the grace waiting for you. It's not cruel. It's holy. And when the dying happens, the peace will happen too. 1 Corinthians 15 says, I die daily. And 2 Corinthians 12 says, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Join us next time where we will have another word straight from His Word into our lives. Until next time, my friends, God bless.
Thank you for joining us today on Just a Word. If you would like to find out more about Alicia Ragan and her ministries, please visit us at www.voiceforthevulnerable.org.